Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the relationship subreddit. The post is titled, "I'm heartbroken after my boyfriend of 6 years backed out of our planned proposal. My boyfriend and I have been together 6 years as of this August. We have lived together now for close to 2 years as well. We have had many conversations about marriage, babies, and our future together. This past winter, we had a more serious and strategic conversation about our future than we had in the past. We decided that we both wanted to get married in late January of 2019. My boyfriend asked me to send him links to rings I was interested in for the engagement. I sent him links by late January of 2018. I, of course, was not expecting a proposal within a few weeks of our conversation. However, I did assume that a proposal would happen within the first 3 months of the year, considering we would need at least 8 months to plan a proper wedding. Fast forward to March 2018, and we had a vacation planned for the last week of March and the first week of April. This trip was very representative of our relationship, as it was mainly a hiking and outdoors themed trip. Maybe I was naive, but I was almost certain he was going to propose at some point during our trip. My friends and family were all expecting a proposal as well, despite the fact that we had not talked to many people about our plans for marriage. My boyfriend seemed to be the only person who did not notice what a great opportunity our trip was for an engagement. I came home from the trip disappointed. I absolutely understand that he is not expected to read my mind and know that I was expecting a proposal. What hurt was that he seemed like the only person who did not know me well enough to understand how important this trip was and how meaningful a proposal would have been. I started to think he was not being honest with me about his intentions to get married. For the next week after our trip, we had many thoughtful discussions about what to do. He made it very clear to me that he still wanted to get married that year, and that the past few months had gone by so fast, he had not thought about planning a proposal in time for our trip. Fast forward to this past weekend. He told me that he had an appointment on Saturday, but would not tell me what it was for. I started to assume he was up to something regarding a proposal. Sunday night, he asked me about my rings again and asked which one I really preferred. At this point, I was very certain he was looking to buy a ring within the next week. Monday night after work, he had another mysterious appointment. As you might guess, I was now dead certain a proposal was happening very soon. On Tuesday night, he was acting funny. He seemed sad, distant, and distracted before bed. I asked him what was bothering him, and he finally admitted that he was feeling a lot of pressure to propose. He told me that he was on the phone that morning about to finalize his purchase of a ring, but he got a bad feeling and backed out. He told me that he felt like he needed more time, but did not say how much time he needed. I was completely floored. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. Hearing that was the last thing I expected to hear from him last week. I feel like he has lied to me this entire year about his seriousness regarding marriage. I feel like he has betrayed my trust and that we are no longer a team. I feel like he has broken my heart by having second thoughts about proposing. At this point in the year, it is almost too late to start planning a wedding for January. So essentially, our plans have unraveled completely. I feel lost. I do not know whether this is a deal breaker for me. Despite my boyfriend wavering on the proposal, he still strongly claims that he wants to spend his life with me and does not want to lose me over this. I am not sure if this is something I can move past, but I also cannot imagine not being with him. Despite being hurt so badly, breaking up is not something my brain has even truly considered. I would really love to hear some advice and opinions on this. I have not talked to many of my friends about this and have really been trying to work through it with my boyfriend alone. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Update. 3 months later, and we have decided to end our relationship. We officially broke up a few weeks ago, and he moved his furniture out of our apartment this week. I received incredibly varied advice from my original post. I took all of it into consideration and let him read the post as well. We tried our very best over the last few months to move past this, but we were not able to. Breaking up seemed like the only option left. To all of you that told me that he wanted to be with me but did not want to get married, you were right. I did not want to believe it, but after months of circular conversations, it came back every time. He just did not want to get married, he did not feel like he was ready, and he did not know when he would be. Basically, I wanted to post an update on this thread because I needed to get it off my chest. I always figured that maybe some of you were in similar situations and you were hoping to eventually hear the outcome. Thank you to everyone who had originally commented on my post. You definitely gave me a lot to think about. Pariah Zeal said, even after 6 years and countless discussions about hopes and dreams for the future, he still fails to convey his feelings on the matter and everything breaks down. I just do not get it. I know my wife and I moved quickly, getting married within a year of meeting, but we had the important discussions starting from our very first date, and here we are, 17 years later and still happily married. Communication really is key. To this comment, user Throwaway the Teabag said, my wife and I knew we would be married after 3 months. We waited a year to get engaged at my father-in-law's request, but he caved at 10 months to give his blessing. We had an engagement lasting slightly over a year, then got married. Just over 17 years for us too. I will say I understand the bad feeling. I was the one who proposed, and I remember hugging her and holding the ring behind her back, staring at it, and realizing that this was a momentous crossroad. It was not a bad feeling, it was a moment of deep and heavy existential clarity, that by doing this, I was altering the course of not just my life, but also my wife's. But then, in a fit of pseudo-selfishness, I remembered I loved her more than anything, so I thought, forget it, I want to get married. Thankfully, she loves me too, and she is lying next to me now. I would not want to be anywhere else. OK Journalist said, gut feeling, this dude is going to be that stereotypical case of not marrying his longtime girlfriend, but marrying an age-inappropriate girl just 6 months after dating. This next story was made by a throwaway account in the Ariel subreddit. The post is titled, My cousin asked my daughter to perform at her wedding reception, but became bitter upon seeing the positive reception to her act. She posted about her online, and now my daughter is considering quitting. I hope this is okay to share here. I am posting because my daughter has been hurting in the aftermath of a recent performance. I apologize in advance for how long this has turned out, but any advice from fellow Arielists would be greatly appreciated. My cousin Dana had her wedding 2 weeks ago and asked if my daughter could perform at her reception. My daughter Jane has been practicing silks and lyra at a nearby circus studio for the past few years. She has also performed at various small gigs through the studio. She hopes to continue into adulthood and become a professional teacher, but this recent incident has shaken her confidence. She keeps a private Instagram to document her progress and performances, and I only post select performances on my Facebook, her first studio gig and her first recital, to name a couple we are proud of. Some relatives saw her performances through my social media, and they also watched her perform at her studio's Christmas recital a few years ago when we hosted Christmas at our home. Jane was surprised when they visited early to see her, and I loved how they coordinated that. She said it was her loudest cheering section to date. Dana was one of the relatives who came early for the Christmas recital and has always been very supportive. She asked if Jane would be willing to perform at the wedding reception, and I asked Jane on her behalf. Jane was honored and excited by the opportunity, and we already had a portable rig for her. Dana got the idea from a YouTube video featuring an aerialist performing at a wedding reception, and she showed us while specifically requesting white silks and a white outfit. We checked out the venue and purchased white silks along with a white costume, which Dana approved. Jane was excited throughout the process. She even worked on the choreography to a song Dana requested and put a lot of time into it, even asking one of her coaches for help. Dana insisted on paying her for the gig despite Jane not expecting to be paid and gave her several $100s. However, Dana has since had a change of heart. Jane received a standing ovation after her performance, which surprised her, but we did not know anything was wrong until Dana posted on Facebook a few days later. Dana claimed she did not approve of the outfit Jane wore and that she had specifically told her not to wear white. She also said that my husband and I pressured her into having Jane perform and that the performance gave off an unclassy vibe. Accusations my husband and I could not believe. We had sent Dana numerous costume links and we purchased the one she selected. There was absolutely nothing wrong with Jane's performance. Dana was one of the people cheering at the end. Jane received nothing but compliments afterward, but I am disgusted that she had to see that post after all the work she put into her routine. For what it is worth, comments on the post were disabled. I called Dana to confront her about the lies, but she did not answer numerous calls. I then called her parents, who, like us, had received messages about her post. They said that Dana was wrong, apologized on her behalf, and said they were also disgusted. Dana's mom said Dana had vented to her before making the post a few days after the reception. Dana told her she regretted asking Jane to perform given the attention, compliments, and cheers she received for it. Her mom also said she felt upstaged by Jane wearing white and having to hear how good Jane was. Dana's parents tried to call her after she made the post, but she did not answer. Their previous conversation ended with her parents telling her she should not be bitter because she had specifically asked Jane to perform. Dana's parents reported the post along with us and others. We have told the truth to those who reached out and posted to explain our side and stand up for Jane. We have text proof of sending costume links that Dana chose from. Dana's parents also requested to talk to Jane on the phone to apologize for Dana's behavior. My husband and I told Jane that Dana was wrong and that we will be distancing ourselves from Dana permanently. Dana's parents were surprised at her behavior, and we were too, having seen her grow up. Granted, we only see extended family for Thanksgiving and Christmas because we live far away, but other relatives were surprised too, as it seemed to come out of left field. Maybe there is a side of Dana we will never know from our limited holiday and milestone interactions, but our focus is Jane. We have tried to cheer Jane up by offering to take her to dinner and other activities, but she has been hurting, which is why I am here. Jane has not practiced either at home or at the studio since the reception, and I do not want to invade her space at the studio by asking or telling anyone there in case she does not want anyone to know. She asked me to return the white silks and costume after being so excited to receive them. She also said she is going to take an extended break from Ariel to reconsider if she wants to continue. Aside from Ariel, she has taken a break from seeing non-Ariel friends too, choosing to pretty much keep to herself. We would appreciate any advice from fellow Arielists on how to lift her spirits. We remind her of how proud we are of her, along with the many compliments she received, but she has asked for space and for us not to talk about it. We will respect that and let time do its thing, but we will consider any advice from other Arielists who can relate to the time and work she put in. Sorry for this being so long, but we appreciate anyone who reads this and takes the time to reply. Update. Before I get into what has happened since my last post, I want to thank everyone who took the time to comment. 2 pieces of advice really stood out, and I will get to them shortly. Since my original post, Dana's Facebook post is gone. I do not know if she deleted it or if enough people reported it for Facebook to remove it, but we are glad it is gone. She never apologized to us or even bothered to call, so our position on being permanently done with the Dana stands. My husband and I made a post on my Facebook addressing the lies she spread about our daughter, and we shared photo proof of Dana's text where she approved of Jane's white costume from links we sent, not to mention the song choice she sent us as well. Even more surprising, Dana's mother reposted it on her account. She wrote that they loved Jane's act and disapproved of Dana's actions. My husband and I also made sure Jane was okay with us addressing this on Facebook, and she said it was fine. Normally, I would not use Facebook to address drama if it were aimed at me, but since this involves a grown adult attacking a minor, we felt the need to address it publicly because Dana disparaged her publicly. Jane will remember whether we stood up for her or not years from now. I had the chance to speak with Dana's mother on the phone since my original post. She spoke to Dana again since our last call. Dana reiterated how she regretted asking Jane to perform, but she fixated on the standing ovation, which bothered her the most. Dana told her that she expected Jane to get some polite applause, but the overwhelming response really set her over the edge because she thought the loudest cheers would be when she and her husband entered the reception, but the loudest cheers went to Jane instead. Dana and her husband did receive a great reception when they entered, but Jane's performance did as well, which Dana did not expect. Even Jane was surprised as she had never received a standing ovation for a solo act before. Dana's mother believes that if Dana had asked someone else to sing who received a similar reception, Dana's jealousy would have been the same. Someone suggested seeing if Jane would be interested in speaking to a therapist, given how hurtful Dana's comments could be for a teenager. Jane said she is open to it so long as it is not a counselor at school because she does not want anyone at school or her studio to know about the incident. She vaguely told the coach who helped her with choreography that it went fine. We will respect her privacy and her right to control the narrative. In the same vein, I suggested therapy for Dana to Dana's mother since Dana's reaction may stem from a bigger insecurity, and her mother said she would ask. Another suggestion was the possibility that Dana's husband or someone else may have made an inappropriate comment to Jane during the reception that made her shut down and not want to see friends or practice days before Dana's post. My husband asked Jane directly and she said no. If something did happen, perhaps Jane would be more comfortable telling a therapist over time. On the bright side, Jane said she might want to try a different aerial studio because she does not want to answer questions about how the performance went or share a video at her home studio. We will help her find a new studio as she asked. We hope she does not permanently leave her current studio because she has supportive friends and coaches there, and because she performs with that studio's troupe at festivals and gigs. However, I personally understand the need to sometimes go somewhere where nobody knows you for a break, and we hope that will help her. She has not made a definite decision yet. If she does leave, we will support her. She still wants an extended break from aerial in the meantime. Even if and when she goes back, she said she may never want to perform again and would rather do aerial leisurely, which is one reason she does not want to return to her home studio where she is part of the troupe. She asked if we would inform her troupe coach that she will not perform with them anymore if it comes to that. If that is what she wants down the road, then we will. Hopefully, time will heal this wound and help her at least keep the friends she has there, but we can only hope. Update 2. When I tried to make each past post, they were immediately removed for some reason. That is why I asked Madison Brave to post on my behalf after a few failed attempts with my original and update posts. I was able to make a post on my own profile stating that I gave Madison permission to post on my behalf. But when I tried to add this final update, my account was suspended as soon as I hit post. I am guessing I tried too many times to repost it, along with the many attempts on my original and update posts as well. I have since made a new account and reached out to the moderators for assistance in posting my last update. Madison suggested that I contact them instead of constantly reposting, and they were gracious enough to help me. This will be the last time I update, and I want to thank everyone who gave advice. In my last post, I mentioned that Jane said she would be open to talking to a professional as long as it was not anyone from her school, and we agreed to accommodate her. However, she changed her mind shortly after and said she wanted to talk to her coach instead, whom she had been brushing off since the reception, remaining vague about how it went. She and her coach put a lot of time into choreographing the act for Dana, and the coach did not even charge her for the sessions to do so. Her coach is also part of her circus studio's performing troupe and has always been supportive and understanding. We supported her decision to talk with her coach, and they had an in-person conversation. After they spoke, Jane spoke to me following her coach's suggestion. I will be somewhat vague about certain details of our discussion. She also asked to speak to me first before we talked to my husband afterward, and that is what we did. Jane opened up about how Dana sent a private message to her Instagram the day after the reception, to her personal Instagram, not her private circus account. Dana's private message was just as bitter as her Facebook posts, but much more hurtful. Dana called Jane derogatory sexual terms in her message, and I cannot express how angry my husband and I still are. Jane said she was surprised upon receiving the message. Dana was always supportive of her craft and gave her a standing ovation along with her husband. Looking back, Dana probably did that because everyone else was doing so. However, Dana also wrote that she only received the ovation because they were family who were biased and could not tell the difference between a good and bad aerialist. Jane blocked Dana long before we spoke, but she said she was hurt because Dana was one of the relatives who came early for Christmas when she hosted some years back to attend her studio's Christmas recital, which surprised Jane. We all went out to dinner afterward as well. My husband and I tried our best to remind Jane that Dana's reaction was a reflection of her insecurities rather than anything Jane did. If the best man had given a speech that garnered the same reaction, Dana would have directed her vitriol at him. Jane said she understood that it was not her fault, but there was more in Dana's message that hurt her confidence, such as bodily comments that she found disgusting. She said she may return to aerial at some point, but that she still needs time and is unsure about performing again compared to doing it leisurely. We told her, among other things, that we commended her decision to speak with her coach and that we will respect her ultimate decision. Jane also said that she did not tell us immediately because she was not sure if she wanted further drama with Dana if we told her parents about the message. However, after some time, she said she actually wanted us to tell her parents because she felt Dana deserved repercussions for it. She said she was surprised that Dana's parents called her out publicly on Facebook without knowing about the message, so that made her feel comfortable with us telling them. Jane also saved a screenshot of Dana's message. While we agreed to tell her parents, we suggested that she delete it afterward because it is not good to carry around hurtful things. She is also still open to speaking to a professional about the more hurtful parts of Dana's message, as long as it is not anyone from her school. We are in the process of trying to find a therapist who can help with some of the difficulties that led to her shutdown in the weeks after the performance. I honestly cannot thank her coach enough, but I just want to address a few more things that were brought up in the comments. I received a few direct messages suggesting we were just as bad as Dana for addressing her lies on Facebook, so I want to be clear. My husband and I rarely use Facebook, and if someone had started drama with me on a Facebook post, I would not use Facebook to address it personally. I would opt for a call instead. However, because she publicly disparaged a minor with lies regarding costumes that we had text proof she approved, we felt it was necessary to post those messages confirming her approval. We also checked with Jane first to make sure she was okay with it. Another question a few people raised was whether Jane's costume was potentially inappropriate. The costume we purchased came from a website used by many professional circus performers, and we have bought other costumes from there in the past. In fact, some of their costumes have been used in wedding gigs by hired circus performers as well. Jane's costume also received many compliments, and we are glad she understands that she is not responsible for Dana's insecurities. This was Jane's first negative experience in her young performing career. Even though she knows Dana is entirely at fault, Dana's words still hurt because they were close before this happened. Jane has kept in contact with her coach since, and she is even considering trying a different apparatus to take her mind off silks, which are temporarily tainted for her. We hope that time and therapy will help her with whatever she decides. Her coach has also suggested organizing a hangout with her troupe completely outside of Aerial, such as a zipline or ropes course day, to take her mind off everything while seeing her friends, and Jane said she would be open to it. Dana's parents also sent Sherry's berries for Jane, which was very sweet, and Jane texted them to thank them. With regard to Dana's parents, I discussed the private message with Dana's mother, and she was even more disgusted than before. She said that she and her husband would deal with it and that there would be permanent changes to their relationship with Dana until she apologizes, and possibly beyond that. She also apologized to us on Dana's behalf and stated that she had not raised her to behave that way. For what it is worth, even before we mentioned Dana's message, her mother told me that Dana's husband was not happy with her Facebook post and several other things Dana complained about regarding the wedding, things I had no idea about. She also said she was not sure if Dana and her husband would be together much longer due to other ongoing issues, but I will keep my focus on Jane and hope she returns to Aerial someday. Update 3. I did not plan on making another post, but something incredible happened after my last update and I could not resist sharing. Sometime after making Dana's mother aware of Dana's private Instagram message to Jane, Dana's husband reached out to us on Facebook, asking if we could have a call. It was the first time I had heard from him since the reception. After arranging the call, he explained that he had learned about the impact of Dana's Facebook post and Instagram message on Jane, and I felt terrible that she was considering quitting. He told us he strongly disapproved of Dana's behavior toward Jane, along with other issues after the wedding that led to him pursuing a divorce. After speaking with his father about how Dana's actions had potentially ruined Jane's passion, his parents were equally disgusted and wanted to help, leading him to reach out. He expressed that he felt bad about Jane isolating herself from her studio and performing troupe friends due to Dana's behavior, which inspired an idea. He wanted to ask whether Jane would be comfortable performing at a fundraising dinner alongside her troupe if he hired them through the studio, so that something positive could come from Dana's mess. He thought that performing with her friends would make Jane more comfortable. He also mentioned that Dana's Facebook post had become a talking point among his friends and relatives who attended the reception and empathized with Jane. My husband and I even received a few supportive Facebook messages after Dana's post, but he wanted to do something more impactful. He discussed with his father the idea of booking a restaurant or catering space for a fundraising banquet to support Jane's circus studio and its performers, with proceeds benefiting both the studio and a local charity. In addition, he wants to provide college donations to the performers and allow attendees to contribute to the performers' college funds, as many of them are Jane's age. He was partly inspired by relatives who wanted to support Jane beyond just a Facebook message. Some even asked if her performance would be uploaded, which was not possible for various reasons, including Dana's bitterness and his reluctance to highlight a painful memory for Jane. He clarified that the event would only happen if Jane felt comfortable, as his goal is to encourage her to perform again with her aerial friends, and that it would not happen immediately since he is currently working through the divorce. Jane and her troupe would have time to choreograph, and the banquet would support local youth as well as provide for a charitable cause. I told him I would speak with Jane and get back to him. When I relayed the information to Jane, she was excited about the prospect of performing with her friends, which made me happy to see her open to it. When I communicated her positive response, he was relieved that something good could come from Dana's actions. He also anticipated that members of his extended family and friends would attend, since many were upset on Jane's behalf, and we plan to invite our family as well. He asked for our help in booking the studio's troupe, and we informed Jane's coach, who has also been helpful and in touch with him. I will try to provide no more than one additional update after the event, but I wanted to share this development because it was so unexpected and seems to have reignited Jane's passion. I cannot thank him and his father enough for their support. His vision is to have someone from the charity his father knows speak early at the banquet. After that, members of the troupe will perform in a 30-40 minute show, giving each performer a chance to shine. He and his father will conclude the program with monetary donations to the charity, studio, and the performers' college funds, before passing a plate or similar for attendees to donate as well. It may be a few months until this comes together, but I will do my best to update when it happens. I apologize for how long this update has been, but I also appreciate everyone who has given advice on my previous posts. Update 4. This will be the last time I update, as we received some questions about what happened. Dana's ex-husband and his father originally wanted to involve a local charity in the event, but those plans fell apart for various reasons, including financial issues, which led to a change in direction. With the charity no longer involved, they decided to make the circus studio the sole beneficiary, with all banquet proceeds going to the studio and performers' scholarships. The venue they initially had in mind was a bit expensive, especially after the wedding expenses, so they switched to using the studio's space instead. The studio is free and often used for student recitals. The main difference this time is that they chose to use the money earmarked for the original venue to promote the event in the community as a way to support local artists. The event will now be an open house, featuring giveaways and free trial class signups, built around a performance showcase. They've promoted it on sites like Eventbrite and even at the library, and they felt Jane would be most comfortable in her home studio where she's performed many times before. All sales will be organized by the studio, as they have experience with handling events like the festivals where Jane's troupe performs. Members of both families are committed to attending, and a few who live further away have chosen to donate online and will watch the recording afterward. As we are now several months removed from the wedding incident in November, Jane has still not received an apology from Dana. However, we relayed a comment someone shared with us. Sometimes in life, you will not get an apology. Jane has come a long way since November, but has not performed since then. The fundraiser will be her first performance since the incident, and it will take place in July. Dana's mother has said she will not attend, but will donate online, as well as make a personal donation to Jane through us. She also stated that Dana will not be allowed at any family gatherings until she apologizes, and Dana has already been informed. I want to share one last detail that Dana's mother mentioned. As Dana continued to avoid apologizing and vented to her mother, she revealed another reason she was upset. When the MC announced the wedding party's entrance into the reception, each person was presented one by one, similar to an NBA starting lineup for those who are not familiar. Dana and her husband were introduced last, and the MC told everyone to stand and welcome the new Mr. and Mrs. This later irritated Dana. When Jane received the standing ovation for her performance, Dana pointed out that no one told the audience to stand. They did so on their own. Dana said she did not think they would have done the same for her and her husband without the MC's instruction. Her mother tried to explain that she was comparing apples to oranges, as a wedding entrance and a performance are two very different things. Still, Dana has not apologized, although I hope she will one day. I previously suggested that Dana might benefit from speaking with a counselor, but her mother said that Dana refused and was simply being immature. She mentioned there had been similar overreactions in their family, but with time, Jane has begun to move forward, although she's still uncertain about pursuing performing as a career. Before the wedding, she wanted to perform and teach after high school on the side of a day job. Now, she is reconsidering her long-term plans. She will continue to perform with her troupe through graduation and see what happens, which is far better than quitting entirely. The last thing I will add is personal. Dana's parents are Christians and raised her Christian as well. I am not sure about Dana's current beliefs, but I was raised Christian and later walked away. Nevertheless, I thought of a Bible verse that I shared with Jane, not to push religion as we do not attend church, but simply because I thought it offered good advice. Romans 12:15 says, "Be happy with those who are happy and weep with those who weep." Building each other up is a good way to live, and Jane saw firsthand how hurtful the opposite can be. On the day of the wedding, we all thought Dana's wedding was beautiful. Jane was shocked by the standing ovation, and we talked about it on the way home, along with the many compliments she received. Dana's jealousy tarnished that memory the following day with her personal message, and we hope this experience shows Jane the importance of choosing to be happy for others rather than envious. After all, it only takes one negative comment amid many compliments to hurt someone deeply. Smart Quokka said, "The irony here is that Dana would probably have been remembered for having the best wedding most people have ever attended. Instead, she tried to ruin Jane's life and earned herself a divorce." To this comment, user Entire Bell said, "I cannot imagine being such an insecure adult that you have to verbally attack and traumatize a minor, and that minor perform for your wedding free of charge." Edit, oops, Dana did pay her, as a commenter corrected me, but my point about her insecurity still stands. Savings Fig said, "This is a classic case of wanting the wedding, not the marriage." To this comment, user Dinru said, "She barely even wanted the wedding. She wanted the attention that came with it." Jane's talent and performance reflected very well on Dana, but she could not let that be good enough because the standing ovation put people's eyes on someone else. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.